up, everybody? Welcome back to Rants and Headaches. Thank you so much for watching. Today's story is something that I find truly detestable, but it's so important to talk about. People like to dismiss discussing women's rights as feminism is old news and women have what they need in this country. We don't need to talk about it anymore. And I would just like to provide a quick counter argument. Any right that you have can be taken from you, and I just think it makes sense to talk about things that are a threat to us. Your free speech rights can be taken from you, your gun rights can be taken from you, your religious rights can be taken from you. So why should women's rights be viewed as this set it and forget it, let's never talk about this again kind of thing? So unfortunately, there was a bill having to do with protecting women from marital rape, and there was some backlash to it, which is insane. If you're not aware, marital rape was not even made illegal at the federal level until 1993. So since 1993, a lot of states still have not gone through and actually officially removed those protections for those rapists. Article reads, married people in West Virginia could be charged with certain sexual acts against their spouses for the first time under a controversial bill passed Monday by West Virginia Republican-dominated Senate. So two interesting things about the sentence. The last part about it being a Republican-dominated Senate. That might be a sign of a good thing, because generally whenever you see Republicans mentioned when we're talking about some type of women's issue, it's about to be bad for women. But the other thing of note in that sentence is the word controversial. How is it controversial to say that women don't deserve to be raped just because they are married? A lot of these people like to complain that fewer women are interested in getting married and getting pregnant, yet they're working overtime to make things like marriage and having kids as terrifying as possible. The bill, sponsored by former prosecuting attorney Republican Senator Ryan Weld of Brooke County, would remove marriage as a defense to first and third degree sexual assault. It now heads to the House for consideration. I will be following up on this story, so if this does pass, I will let y'all know. Ryan Weld says the marital exception exists or has existed in code for quite some time, and I think now is the time to correct an injustice. And you know what? Good for him. On the one hand, it's kind of a bare minimum thing for a lawmaker to have the courage to say that rape is wrong. But a lot of these old school laws are still on the books. And for someone to say, you know what, now's the time for us to correct an injustice, as he puts it, I think is something that we should definitely give recognition to. So thank you, Ryan Weld, for trying to do the right thing here. Then we get to some of the people who offered some opposition to this bill, this is just one of those bills that, how do you even come up with an opposition to this? Just insane. GOP Senator Patricia Rucker of Jefferson County said she wanted to support the legislation, but worried about people trying to take advantage of this statute with false accusations. Let me make something abundantly clear, okay? Holding people accountable for false accusations and protecting rape victims are two entirely separate issues. They are not the same thing. It is not even appropriate to bring up how we should deal with false accusations when we are talking about legislation that has to do with protections for rape victims. That is insane. It's also a widely conflated issue. I can't tell you how many times I have heard people say, well, people should go to jail for filing a false police report. They do. They do. They do. I don't know who told you otherwise. That is a crime, and you can be charged for that. Now, if you think there should be harsher punishments, or if you think there should be extensions of punishments for false accusations, for example, those that are made in the media and not to the police, that's definitely a conversation worth having. I have no problem with that. But to imply that rape victims do not deserve protections because false accusations exist is insane and incredibly wrong. Patricia says if there was more protections to make certain that there wouldn't be abuse of it by people who are just trying to hurt the other person, it would be, I think, a very easy vote. I, for myself, am concerned about the weaponization, unfortunately, of marital contact. You're concerned about the weaponization of marital contact when it comes to false accusations, but you're not concerned with the weaponization of marital contact when it comes to raping someone? Really? Those are the bullshit morals you stand by? And she then went on to propose an amendment that had nothing to do with the issue, such as revealing your biological sex or any STDs you might have to a potential sex partner. Not even close to what's being discussed, so I don't know what the hell that was about. But the point of all this is that this mindset that we should start talking about false accusations anytime someone wants to start talking about protections for rape victims really does come from sexism. There's no getting around it. And one thing that bothers me about feminists is their constant use of the word patriarchy, because it plants in people's minds that men are the only threats to women's rights. No, other women who make bullshit arguments like this are also a threat to women's rights. If I file an insurance claim and I have full, irrefutable proof that this damage happened to my property, I should not have my claim rejected simply because other people have submitted false claims. That is the logic that's going on here. It doesn't make any sense and it's morally reprehensible. But then we get to the asshole of the century here. Someone who should not be in public office at all. I am genuinely repulsed by this man. His name is Mike Azinger. I do not care whether or not I'm pronouncing that correctly because he's a world-class piece of shit. A later withdrawn amendment by Republican Senator Mike Azinger of Wood County would have required that sexual abuse be witnessed by two people outside the marriage for charges to be brought. He cited an Old Testament passage in the Bible. This happened earlier this year, folks. This happened a couple weeks ago. And this man is arguing that women do not deserve to be protected under the law from rape because the Bible said so. It makes my stomach turn when people refer to the Bible as the good book. I don't see a whole lot of goodness coming out of it. I see bullshit arguments and evil like this coming out of it. So, Azinger says God's law says in Deuteronomy 2 or more witnesses. It seems only just and fair that there should be somebody else who saw what happened. What planet is this lunatic living on? First of all, when it comes to my right or anyone else's rights being discussed, to be clear, I do not give a single shit what Deuteronomy says. You put up the Bible to begin with, I really don't care what's in there. I do not subscribe to that. I do not agree with that. I vehemently oppose a lot of the material that's in there, frankly, on a moral basis. But you get to things like Deuteronomy, we're talking about some really sick stuff here. It should not have to take that much mental capacity out of you to read Deuteronomy and go, you know what, wow, it might actually be kind of evil to enforce some of this stuff on women. But not Mike. He can't turn the cogs quite that quickly. This sexist piece of garbage, this sexist pro-rape piece of garbage, thinks that a woman should not be able to charge her husband with rape if there were not also two witnesses. That is insane. If someone beat the shit out of this guy and he had full, let's say video evidence of the incident, I would fully support him pressing charges against those people. I am not an asshole that would be like, well, hold on, sir. Hold on. Do you meet the biblical standards of this charge? Oh, you don't? I'm sorry, sure, no justice for you today. Let's see any of the people who make this kind of argument try to enforce this against men. You wouldn't do it. You won't see it done. It is appalling that someone who is actively serving would make such an anti-women, pro-rape argument. It's unacceptable. So, if you're in West Virginia and you voted for this guy, can you just leave me a little comment? Can you just explain why you would do something like that? And if you are in West Virginia and you're not registered to vote, please register. Let's get this loser out of office. Let's get men who are a threat to women's safety out of office. Because that's what he is. This is a man who wants fewer protections for women. And honestly, if you want fewer protections for women, I want you out of office, period. Whether you use the Bible as part of your argument or not. If you don't care about the rights of the people you are there to serve, then just go do something else with your life. Anyways, I will be following up with this story as well as telling you a little bit more about Mike because now I want to know more about this guy. I'm a little scared what I might find out. But what other bullshit things does he support against women? So if anyone has any insight, please leave a comment and let me know. If you enjoyed this video, have this video, or even just a quarter of this video, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe.